Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by the word anorak. Anorak is a British slang term which refers to a person who has a very strong interest, perhaps obsessive, in niche subjects. It is also a coat made by Greenland Eskimos.
Well, Sergeant, if it hadn't been for your smart sleuthing, we never could have pinned those forgeries on Richie Albert.
I think you can take a little of the credit yourself.
He's sure to be sent up for a nice long term. Too bad all cases aren't just simple.
You mean the Forsyth case?
Exactly. Over 4 months old, and we haven't cracked it yet. And I'm sure whoever forged those checks on Forsyth is the same person who murdered him.
Yes, it's obvious Forsyth found out who the forger was, and the guy had to bump him off or get caught.
Funny. I wonder.
What's that, Inspector?
Maybe we've got the murderer right under our noses and don't know it.
You mean Richie?
It's only a wild stab on my part, but we could have the handwriting on the two forgeries analyzed.
Say, Inspector, I think you've got something there. At least it's worth a try.
It certainly is. Come on, Sergeant. We're going over to the lab right now.
Any news yet, Inspector?
Not yet. They've got one of their best experts working on the handwriting. Going to call as soon as...
Uh-oh. That might be him now.
Inspector Kennedy speaking. Yes, Philip. I see. Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, Inspector?
That's the go-ahead, Sergeant. Hold down the fort. I'm going over to the city jail to pay a little call on Richie Albert.
What's the matter with you coppers? I confessed I forged those checks last week. Why can't you leave a guy alone?
I thought maybe you might have something more on your mind you'd like to get off.
Like what?
Like admitting you forged some checks on that Samuel J. Forsyth last July, and that you bumped him off a month later.
Murder? Listen, you, I may work a little different for a living than you, but I don't get mixed up in no murders.
That doesn't mean you wouldn't.
Well, you're barking up the wrong tree this time. Besides, I wasn't any place near here last summer.
You'll have to prove that, Richie.
Sure, I can prove it. I was working as a bookie down south at the Kentucky Derby. You can hang that charge on top of me, but I ain't taking no murder raps.
You mind telling me how long you were down there, Richie?
For 2 months. From July right through September. And keeping my nose to the grindstone all along.
Richie, what if I told you the handwriting on your forged checks and the Forsyth checks were the same type?
So what if they are? I still didn't have nothing to do with it. I told you where I was when Forsyth was murdered.
I'd like to believe you, Richie, but I'm afraid I can't. You're going up for Sam Forsyth's murder.
How does Inspector Kennedy know Richie Alberts is lying? Do you know the clue? In a moment we'll hear, but first...
I see no way to solve this mystery. However, the inspector seems pretty sure of himself.
As he should be.
You know what is going on?
Yep, but I'm not surprised that you don't, you being a Brit and all.
And what is that supposed to mean?
What do you know about the Kentucky Derby?
I believe it is a horse race.
It is. Do you know when it takes place?
I have no bloody idea.
There's your problem.
I really don't like you.
As it should be.
And now, back to our story.
Inspector, you're a genius. 2 cases cleared up and only 1 man jailed. But I still don't know how you did it.
Very simple, Sergeant. Quite simple. You see, knowing that the signatures on both the forgery cases were the same type was something to go on. Richie's having an alibi about his whereabouts at the time of the murder could have cleared him, except for one thing. An innocent man doesn't need to fake an alibi. You see, Richie couldn't have been at the Kentucky Derby last August, as he said, because the Kentucky Derby is run only in the spring. When we caught him on that one, he broke down and confessed. It looks like Richie's rubber checks are going to bounce him right into the hot seat.
See, the Derby is held in May, not August.
And this is common knowledge.
It is kind of a big deal here in the States.
You Americans on your horses.
Ride 'em, cowboy.
Must you have a colloquialism for everything?
We must. It's in our DNA.
Wrong. You have an anorak for this stuff.
A what?
What's that you said?
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. On the show today, we've got some good stuff.
Really? What kind of stuff?
Well, we have a leftover from last week. A Johnny Is It True look at the TV series Gunsmoke. I wanted to play it last week, but we just ran out of time.
Oh, that's too bad.
No, that's a good thing. We also have a science fiction story from L Ron Hubbard titled The Professor Was a Thief. I think you're gonna like this one.
I should hope so.
Yeah. I received this email from Whisker702. Hey Ron, I love the podcast. I noticed something in your show notes on Apple Podcasts. Every one of them starts out with the word on, and then we present or this time. It doesn't make any sense. What's going on? Mike. Well, Mike, thank you for bringing this to my attention. The problem here is that it should read on Ron's Amazing Stories We Present. Apple is cutting out the show name. I do know why this is happening. You see, I turned that show name into a web link. Apple sees that and just cuts it out. So, starting this week, won't do that anymore. That will fix it. Well, we are getting close to the end of summer. Every year I go through a low in new stories from you guys. Right now, I'm out of your stories. I do have one for today, but that's it. So I'm asking if you've been waiting to send in a story to the show, please go ahead and do it. I'm not too worried about this, but with the month of Spooky Fast approaching, I really do need your scary Halloween stories to make that happen. Now let's get to this week's audiobook. It is epic. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Audible has sponsored the show now since July of 2019. We have reviewed more than 140 audiobooks, and the list keeps growing. Did you know that Audible has over 200,000 books available? And a lot of those are included in the free catalog. Audible is amazing, and it is the perfect companion to Ron's Amazing Stories. If you like this podcast, you're going to love Audible. So what am I listening to? The ultimate science fiction mega collection. 24 of the best sci-fi books of all time. Yep, you heard that right. You get 24 novels in one bundle. Over 120 hours of entertaining stories. There is Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Around the World in 80 Days, the John Carter of Mars trilogy, The War of the Worlds, The Time Machine, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 3 Ray Bradbury stories, and much, much more. An incredible collection, to be sure. Now, the quality of the narration on each of the books is near perfect. Here's an example. This comes from the book A Princess of Mars, written by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It is the opening tale of the John Carter series of books. It is narrated for us by Steve Fontaine.
I'm a very old man. How old I do not know. Possibly I'm 100, possibly more. But I cannot tell because I've never aged as other men, nor do I remember any childhood. So far as I can recollect, I have always been a man of about 30. I appear today as I did 40 years and more ago, and yet I feel that I cannot go on living forever, that some day I shall die the real death from which there is no resurrection. I do not know why I should fear death, I who have died twice and am still alive, but yet I have the same horror of it as you who have never died, and it is because of this terror of death, I believe, that I am so convinced of my mortality. And because of this conviction, I have determined to write down the story of the interesting periods of my life and of my death. I cannot explain the phenomena. I can only set down here, in the words of an ordinary soldier of fortune, a chronicle of the strange events that befell me during the 10 years that my dead body lay undiscovered in an Arizona cave. I have never told this story, nor shall mortal man see this manuscript until after I have passed over for eternity. I know that the average human mind will not believe what it cannot grasp, and so I do not purpose being pilloried by the public, the pulpit, and the press, and held up as a colossal liar when I am but telling the simple truths which some day science will substantiate. Possibly the suggestions which I gained upon Mars, and the knowledge which I can set down in this chronicle, will aid in an earlier understanding of the mysteries of our sister planet. Mysteries to you, but no longer mysteries to me. My name is John Carter. I am better known as Captain Jack Carter of Virginia. At the close of the Civil War, I found myself possessed of several $100,000, Confederate, and a captain's commission in the cavalry arm of an army which no longer existed, the servant of a state which had vanished with the hopes of the South. Masterless, penniless, and with my only means of livelihood, fighting, gone, I determined to work my way to the southwest and attempt to retrieve my fallen fortunes in a search for gold. I spent nearly a year prospecting in company with another Confederate officer, K. Powell of Richmond. We were extremely fortunate, for late in the winter of 1865, after many hardships and privations, we located the most remarkable gold-bearing quartz vein that our wildest dreams had ever pictured. Powell, who was a mining engineer by education, stated that we had uncovered over $1 million worth of ore in a trifle over 3 months.
Now, you have to admit that was pretty good. This collection of audiobooks is truly a bargain. 24 books for the price of one. If you were to buy each book separately, on average, it would be about $12 each. That's well over $200 for all 24. I gotta say, this one's a no-brainer. Also, each and every story in this collection is a classic. But more than that, the Audible app handles the organization of the books really well. You can jump from book to book simply by looking at the chapter settings. So you can listen to any of the books in any order you want. I started with John Carter. I saw the movie, but I had never read the books before. It is a great story when you hear it the way that Edgar Rice Burroughs intended it to be. So, in short, this is a must-have for anyone's Audible collection. And you can have them all for free. If that appeals to you, head to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Here's what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook in 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out their service. This also grants you access to the included catalog, which is updated constantly with new titles. So to download your free mega audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Thank you, Audible. And now, let's get to your stories.
These are your stories, sent by you, for you.
Ray Peyton is back with another story from his amazing life. Ray has shared many stories on the podcast before and has even come on the show live. He's been all over the world doing everything from contracting for the government to working the oil fields of Louisiana. He has sent us this heartwarming story that he has titled, A Story. It's sort of remarkable the moments we choose to remember, to cherish in our lives, and the following is one of mine, and it still gives me a good feeling. The Department of Defense and Army contractors in Iraq were, and probably still are, treated somewhat as a privileged class. We got the best pay, ate the best food, and most often our living quarters were nicer than those of the American soldier. We also employed low-paid citizens of third-world countries such as Bangladesh and Uganda to do the crap work around the base and paid them about $700 a month. That's about a tenth of the lowest American salary. We would say, well, it's our war. We started it, and we should get the best pay. It's the right thing to do. I made friends with many of these workers, usually young men. There was this one little guy from Bangladesh who would on the side clean up my living quarters for $10 a pop. I only had one room and a bathroom. When he got done cleaning it, it would be spotless. So one day on our base in Al-Assad, I was getting ready to depart Iraq for some rest and relaxation. We would get 16 days of fun and pleasure in Europe. I had just visited the payroll office and picked up my regular monthly advance of $1,000 and my quarterly advance of $1,500 allotted to me for R&R. Plus, I already had some money in my wallet. After work, I arrived at my living quarters with $2,600 all in $100 bills. No tens, no fives, no ones. My cleaning man/friend was there, and my room was all clean. I shook his hand, told him thank you, and reached in my back pocket for his $10. It was then I realized all I had was $100 bills. Well, I was excited about getting off that base for a while. I was happy, loaded with cash, and here was this little guy. He was poor, working for practically nothing, looking up at me smiling, and waiting for his money. I handed him $100, and that smile on his face was worth it. Friends, please don't think I'm bragging about something I did for someone. It was so easy to do it, and it didn't hurt me at all. It's not the point I'm trying to make. So anyway, I went on R&R to Rome and arrived back in Al-Assad 3 weeks later. Soon after returning, I met him on the way back to my room after work. I just remember him being there and walking by my side. The young man looked up at me as we walked and in broken English explained that his little girl had just started school back home in Bangladesh. I remember replying, "Oh, that's great, buddy." He seemed so happy about it. Then he said, "She got a new dress, new shoes, and she got school books." We just kept walking, and I told him, "Well, that's great." I was really just sort of playing along with him. My mind was on other things, concerns of the day. Now, looking back at that moment, my little friend must have thought, "Ray, you're just not getting it." He tugged at my shirt sleeve, and when I looked over, he said, "You did that, Mr. Ray. You bought that dress, bought shoes, you bought the books." He wanted me to know. Friends, I've got to tell you, that will always be one of the nicest moments, one of the nicest memories of my life. It beat Rome all to hell. Ray Peyton, Louisiana. Well, Ray, that is a great story and one that we should take to heart. I wonder how many of us miss opportunities to help someone out when for us it wouldn't be a big deal. I know how good I have felt just taking a minute and chatting with someone. I know when someone does that for me, it makes me feel like I matter. Thank you, Ray. If you want to hear more of Ray's stories, go to the main website and search for Ray Peyton. That's Peyton. That's all we have for this time. If you have a story that you would like to share, head to the main website at ronsamazingstories.com. Click on the submission banner, leave your story, give it a title, and please tell me where you're from. I'll read it if I can. Our featured story comes from the classic radio series, Dimension X. It takes us to New York. A metropolitan newspaper reports that Grant's tomb has just been stolen. Sound crazy? Well, it's true. Not only Grant's tomb, but some other famous landmarks have all gone missing. The story is titled The Professor Was a Thief, and it was originally written by L Ron Hubbard. It appeared in Astounding Science Fiction in February of 1940. Later, it was published by Galaxy Press, which is still available for purchase on Amazon or any bookseller for that matter. What we'll hear today is the radio adaptation of the story. It first aired on Dimension X on November 5th, 1950.
Adventures in Time and Space, transcribed in future tense. Dimension. Can you predict what will come in 100 years? Or in 10? Or in the next minute? Can you see beyond the known dimensions of time and space into the unknown Dimension X? Today we tell you a story of America's largest city, a story that began in the bustling city room of a New York metropolitan jail.
City desk. Sweeney?
Listen, Pop, give me a rewrite, quick.
I'll take it.
Okay, now look. I'm up on Riverside Drive, see?
So?
So, at 12:45 today, just 3 minutes ago, Grant's tomb disappeared.
It's what?
I'm telling you, it disappeared. It's gone.
Listen, Sweeney, get yourself to a Turkish bath. Sober up.
Pop, I swear, I'm sober as a judge. Listen to me, will you?
Just a minute. Albert!
What's up, Pop?
Call the Honda's detective precinct. Find out if anything's been reported missing.
Like what?
Like Grant's tomb. Go on, make it snappy.
Okay, Pop.
All right, Sweeney, now give it to me slow. This better not be a gag.
No gag, Pop. Now get it down. The traffic at the drive was at its noon hour peak, and the benches and structure were filled with happy, laughing people. Then, without a warning, a rumble sounded in the alarmed populace car was horrified.
Hold it, Sweeney. Well, Albert?
I don't get it. They say that Grant's tomb is gone.
Okay, call composing. Tell them to hold everything for an extra. Clear out page 1. Get going. Okay, Sweeney, now. The heck with the words, give me the garbage. What happened?
Nobody knows. There are half a dozen police cars around here staring at the place where Grant's tomb was. I was about a block away. I heard screams. I came running. It was gone. Vanished.
How many dead?
Nobody knows if anybody is dead.
We'll find out.
How can I find out when everybody that was sitting on the steps and all disappeared?
What?
They're gone.
No bodies?
No tomb, Pop. No tomb.
Okay, you hope it back up there and get stories from some witnesses. Now call me back. Albert!
Yes, Pop?
Get Columbia University on the phone, get a statement.
Right.
Research!
Yes, sir.
Grab an encyclopedia, see if anything like this ever happened before. Hey, Walters!
Yeah, Pop?
Call the Army, find out about secret weapons. Hello, composing. This is Pop Adderby on the city desk. Start setting up an extra. I want to hit the street in 20 minutes. Second extra in an hour with pictures. Okay, what are you waiting for? Get them rolling.
Pop? Pop.
Oh, I'm busy, Albert.
Yes, sir. Pop, Mr. Colborne wants to see you. Pronto.
Tell him I'm busy.
Well, he says to come now.
Oh, of all the flat-headed publishers to saddle a newspaper with. Okay. Sweeney calls, switch it to Colburn's office.
Okay, Pop.
Come in.
Listen, Mr. Colburn, I'm very busy now. There's an extra on the rollers and...
I know. I just called composing and ordered them to stop it.
To stop it? Are you...
Annabee, you've been on the city desk of the Herald for 25 years now. Since when do you waste thousands of dollars on an April Fool issue?
April Fool? Listen, Grant's tomb is missing. Is that a story, or am I dead from the neck up?
Did you check it?
Yes, and Sweeney...
How do you know it's true?
Well, if you...
What do you mean spreading cold terror all over town?
But Sweeney...
The devil with Sweeney. How do you know it isn't just a hallucination? Mass hypnotism, something like that.
Well, what if it is?
Annabee, if this is a farce, we'll be in Dutch, but good. Civil suits, criminal action. We're the only paper in town on the streets with an extra. The other editors don't believe this story for one instant.
It takes guts to run a paper.
Well, if that's what it takes, you've got too many. You took the authority for this without even trying to find me and get an okay.
Your father-in-law knew a story has to run while it's hot.
All right. You ran this while it was so hot, our first 10 papers drove the city into a panic. How do we know this whole thing isn't a big... Hello. Now there's Corborn. Yes, he's here. It what? Oh, well, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. You're fired.
What?
It's your star reporter, Mr. Sweeney, formerly of the Herald.
Formerly? Give me that phone. Hello, Sweeney.
Pop,
Did you get the pictures? How are things up there?
Pop.
I'll need more witnesses.
Pop.
Hey, what?
It's back.
Fine. What did you say?
It's back. Grant's tomb is back. I'm sorry.
You're sorry. All right, golden boy. Now give it to me slow. Make it sound intelligent.
It just reappeared, that's all.
What about the people who were inside?
All back. Don't remember a thing. It's just like it never happened at all. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. We got an extra on the streets with 28 types screaming that Grant's tomb has vanished, and you calmly call me up to tell me that it's back.
But it was gone. I tell you, Pop.
Sweeney.
What?
Do me a favor, will you?
Yeah, what?
Drop dead.
Well, that'll be.
I guess we run a attraction. Just doesn't make sense. 12 police cars saw it. We've got statements from witnesses.
I told you it was hysteria. Look at the Man from Mars broadcast that Orson Welles did. 1,000 people will swear they saw the monsters.
Oh, I don't know. I'm all confused.
Well, let's look at it this way, Adderby. Maybe you've had enough.
Enough what?
You've been on the city desk 25 years now. That makes you, let me see, 55?
54. What are you driving at, Mr. Colburn?
I mean, maybe you ought to retire.
Retire?
We need new people, new ideas. I've been thinking about it for some time now. With Social Security, you'd get...
About $20. Fine. Now, you listen. I brought this paper into the world, and it's going to take me out. I was on that city desk before you ever heard of a stick of type. Then you come along and marry a publisher's daughter.
That's enough.
I made a mistake, okay. Anybody can make a mistake. I still think there's something in this story. Sweeney's been around too long to blow one like this. Even when he's drunk, he's a better newspaper man than most.
I'm sorry. Effective today, you're relieved as city editor. Sanford will take over.
Sanford? Why, he's green as grass.
If you want to stay on in some minor job...
Such as?
Well, how about science editor?
Science editor.
You could have the office right next to mine. It'll pay the rent. Well?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. Been on the city desk so long.
Well, maybe it's too much excitement for a man your age.
Stop writing me off, will you? I'm sick. I'm 54. And a man at 54...
is no longer a boy.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I am losing my grip. Gotta go somewhere and think it over.
All right, Adderby. Take your time.
I'll be across the street at Burley's bar if you need me. I'll let you know before the bulldog hits the streets. Burley! Innkeeper!
Yeah, Pop, yeah?
More poison.
haven't you had enough, Pop?
Yeah, this is a solemn occasion, Burley. Call the hemlock.
What's the occasion, Pop?
I am now a husband.
No.
Yeah, reduced. Humiliated.
You, Pop? Never.
Meet the new science editor of the Sunday Supplement, me. Know as much about science as J.P. Morgan knows about sharecropping.
What happened? Who did it?
You familiar with a reporter named Aloysius John Sweeney? Former friend and drinking companion of mine?
Sweeney got you busted?
The same. If that gentleman should ever by some misforgotten chance thrust his head into this bar, Burley, my friend, I personally, with these two bare hands...
Hey, Pop! Pop!
Uh-oh.
Hey, Pop, it's me.
I shall control my homicidal instinct.
Listen, Pop, I just came down from Riverside Drive.
Very daring move, Sweeney.
I brought a guy with me.
It won't help, Sweeney.
Pop, you don't understand. I found a little guy in a swallowtail coat who watched this whole thing happen. Pop. Burley, quiet! Quiet, everybody! Shh, quiet, will you?
How do you do? Gentlemen, I can assure you my small stature belies the magnitude of my abilities.
What did you bring him for, Sweeney?
He's a genius, Pop, a full-time genius.
You betrayed me once, Sweeney. Isn't that enough? Take your little man away and don't bother me.
Your friend isn't very polite, Mr. Sweeney. Perhaps one day he will learn that even the most insignificant man has a sense of dignity and personal worth.
I apologize, Professor. I'm not so at you. It's your tomato-headed friend here. Sweeney, I ought to kill you. I ought to strangle you with my bare hands. I ought to have you run through a rotary press at low speed. Those things are too good for you.
But, Pop, look, I'm trying to tell you, the story ain't phony. It happened. Mr. Pertwee, Hannibal, tell him about it.
Gladly. My contribution has been awaiting worldwide recognition for many years now. Unfortunately, there are some who insist I am insane.
Fancy that.
Yeah. Being small of stature, as you can see, I chose to nurse my resentment rather than to take positive measures. However, I feel now the world is ready to come to terms with Hannibal Pertwee.
Can you or can you not explain this Grant's tomb business?
Naturally. It can all be explained quite simply in terms of the Pertwee system of infinite acceleration and transportational facilitation as applied to freightage. I've been trying to sell it to the railroads for 10 years.
Didn't I tell you he was a genius, Pop?
Burley, the check.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Pop. Give him a chance. Show him the trains, Hannibal.
Oh, yes, the trains. If you gentlemen will gather around the suitcase...
Come on, I want you to see that. I'm telling you. All right. Come on. Hey, look.
As you can see, I have in this suitcase a complete model railroad reduced to the size of a cigar box. Observe. That's enough, I think.
They run! Just like real trains!
Sweeney, not content with ruining my life, losing me my job, driving me to alcohol, you're now trying to drive me out of my mind with an obvious madman who builds model railroads. Here's the money, Burley. Keep the change.
Oh, but, Pop,
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Pop, you're not even giving him a chance.
Out of my way.
Listen, Pop, please.
Out of my way.
It's always the same. They won't listen to me.
Oh, I guess Pop is losing his grip.
I hate them.
No, don't take it so hard, Hannibal. Maybe it was all a hallucination.
The Pertwee theory is not an hallucination.
Sure. Well, it was a good try anyway. I guess I'll go back to the office and pick up my stuff.
But I'll show them. Someday they'll listen.
Sure. You'll show them, Hannibal. Hey, Burley, fix Professor Pertwee here with a double scotch. Ahead, make it a triple.
The newest use of the isotope will enable medical experts to trace with accuracy the growth of Carwin. Oh, nuts. Yeah, maybe it's better to be unemployed. Science editor speaking.
Pop?
Yeah.
Sweeney, listen, I got a story.
I thought Colburn canned you.
Heck, you can't fire me. Listen, you know Burley's Bar?
Does DiMaggio know Yankee Stadium? What about Burley's Bar?
It's gone.
Oh, sweet.
On the level, Pop, just a few seconds ago. Take a look at the window.
Sweeney, I warn you.
Take a look.
Okay, Sweeney, hang on. Albert?
Yes, Pop?
Do me a favor. Stick your head out of that window and tell me if anything unusual is going on at Burley's Corner.
Okay, Pop.
Holy jumping catfish!
Huh?
It's gone. Come here and look.
Well, I'll be a monkey. Where's Colburn?
He went to a polo match out on Long Island.
Who's on the city desk?
Young Stan.
Come on.
That's the city desk. Okay, I'll give it to rewrite. Just a second. City desk. What? Are you nuts? What?
Everybody listen to this, will you? It's Martinson down at 34th Street. He says the Empire State Building has disappeared. Can you feature that?
What are you going to do about it?
Do? Am I supposed to do something? He's gone nuts.
Give me that phone.
Hey,
Give me that phone. Hello, Marty. This is Pop.
Pop, what are you doing on the desk?
Never mind what happened.
Well, I'm down at the precinct. 5 minutes ago, a cop staggered in. It's gone, he says. What's gone, they say? The Empire State, he says. Well, I figured I better call.
Okay, get down there and get the details. In case you need to convince a Burley's Bar went just before you call.
Holy mackerel, what a catastrophe that is. Okay, Pop, I'll call you.
Look at the skyline. The Empire State isn't there.
No. Don't get panicky. Don't get panicky. It may come back, just like Grant's tomb.
Okay, Pop. You'll take over, won't you? I'm kind of shaky.
Will I? I'll show you fledglings how to run a newspaper together. Wallace?
Yeah, Pop.
Get a camera down to Empire State.
Right. What a story.
Call the mayor, Albert. Tell him ask what he intends to do.
Check.
Where's the research department?
Right here, sir. Columbia University says it's mass hypnotism.
Tell him to... No, dress it up and shoot it down.
Yes, sir.
Research! Wait a minute.
Yes, sir.
Find out how many people are usually in the Empire State.
Yes, sir.
No, don't try to call the Empire State to find out.
No?
No, it isn't there. City desk. Shoot.
Right, officer, listen. I'm dead sober, see?
Yeah, the garbage, Frankie, the garbage.
Remember, I'm sober. S as in sober, O as in sober.
Come on, what happened?
Now help me, Pop. Penn Station just disappeared. Vanished. Thin air.
Jumping turtles, the people too?
People trained the works. I'm telling you, there's a hole a block wide. I was lucky I was only a block away.
You saw it?
Eyewitness.
Oh, bless you, my boy, talk.
There was a rumble, see? A kind of electrical hum in the air. And all of a sudden, the station seemed to cave in on itself. Wango. Nothing.
Any statement?
No, but you ought to see the hole.
Oh, get statements, flathead. Where are you now?
I'm over at the post office, right across the street from Pop.
Hello, Frankie. Frankie, operator.
Pop, we got a flash. The United States Post Office just went. The whole darn city is going piece by piece.
Don't lose your head, Albert. Hello.
This is the composing room about that Empire State Building story.
Still, it's old news. We've just lost Penn Station and the post office. Get out a new banner head. New York City vanishing.
What about copy?
You don't need copy for a story like this. Tell the linotype operators to use their imagination. Albert!
Pop?
Anything else missing? Chrysler Building, maybe?
Nothing yet, Pop.
Oh. Anything reappeared yet?
No word on anything.
Maybe things are stabilizing. Call composing. Tell them to start rolling.
Right, Pop.
And find Sweeney. Telephone from downstairs a while ago. I forgot all about him.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him he's hired again. I'll print any statement that isn't immoral.
Uh-oh, Pop. Here comes Mr. Trouble.
Oh, now take it easy, Colburn.
B, what are you doing at the city desk? Where's Sanborn? What's going on here anyway? Has everyone gone out of his mind?
Listen, the Empire State, the Penn Station, and the post office have all been missing for almost 5 minutes.
Get away from that desk, you. Drop that telephone.
Listen.
I don't care if Washington, D.C. has been bombed by the Martians. I want you out of this office in 2 minutes. Albert, cash those extras. Pop, you get out. You're fired.
Oh, you're not being reasonable.
I'm not interested in the other papers. Just get out of here before I go stark raving mad.
Hey, Pop! Hey, Pop!
Oh, hello, Sweeney. Where you been?
I've been trying to make up my mind whether to come up or not. When you left me hanging on the phone, I thought you was insulting me. Hey, how come you aren't on the desk?
Oh, I'm canned.
Are you kidding?
Oh, it's been coming. I really had the place jumping. You should have seen me, Sweeney. It was like the San Francisco earthquake. Oh, I need a drink. How about... keep forgetting. Isn't any Burleys anymore?
No. Just a big hole in the ground.
Let's walk over. I want to browse around.
Oh, Pop, there's nothing to see.
Well, let's take a snoop anyway, just for old time's sake.
Well, okay, Pop, let's cross. We got the light.
Well, will you look at that? Who'd ever thought that less than 10 minutes ago there was a building here?
Yeah.
Let's climb down and have a look, Sweeney.
Well, what for, Pop? It's getting dark, you know. We'll break our necks.
Sweeney, where's your old reporter spirit? Come on.
Well, okay, but I don't see what you expect to... Ooh, my ankle.
Easy.
Clean as a bone.
Well, let's walk around a bit. See anything?
No, just rocks, pieces of the foundation. I'll bet you that... Pop, wait a minute.
What?
Will you look at this? So small, I almost missed it.
Well, I'll be a son of a perfect scale model of Burley's. Less than 4 inches tall.
What do you suppose this is doing here?
I don't know.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Wait, wait.
What are you doing down here?
I'm looking for my model. Thank you for finding it.
Oh, this is yours, is it?
Certainly. Now, if you'll be kind enough to hand it to me, I'll just put it back in my suitcase.
You better give it to him, Pop.
All right.
Thank you. There we are. Thank you, gentlemen.
I thought you just went in for model trains.
I have always been preoccupied with tiny things, but lately I've been branching out. Well, I really must be going. Thank you very much.
He's as loony as a bat. The geniuses are all crazy. I read it in a book.
Sweeney, you get a look in that suitcase?
Sure, I seen it when he opened it in the bar this morning.
I mean just now.
Oh, why?
This morning when he opened his suitcase, he had a little round tube and a set of model trains in it. Nothing else.
So?
This time he had 3 other models.
So what?
Nothing. Except they happened to be models of the Empire State, Penn Station, and the United States Post Office.
There he goes down the block, Pop.
Wait, come back here.
He's starting to run.
Here's a cab. Come on.
What to, Mac?
Catch up with that little guy running down on the block. Make it fast.
Okay, Mac.
There he is. Hold it, cabby, hold it. Come on, Sweeney.
Hey, how about my dough? Hey, you bums!
Stop, gentlemen. Stop, I warn you.
Hey, Pop. He's got that little tube out of his suitcase. He's pointing.
Grab him, Sweeney.
All right, give me that thing.
Let go of my arm.
Give it to me. There.
I warn you.
Never mind the warnings. Just you come along with us. We're going to have a little talk. Take him up to the office, Sweeney.
Pop.
What?
Where's the taxi? What? The taxi.
If you look at the curb, you'll find your taxi.
Jumping saints. Pop, look at it.
Now, gentlemen, perhaps the world will believe in the validity of the Pertwee system of infinite acceleration.
All right, Hannibal, now you start talking.
I won't.
Hold his hand, Sweeney.
That's a pleasure.
Well, Hannibal?
Let me out of this office.
Talk.
Never.
Sweeney, where's the tube?
It's right here, Pop.
Now, Hannibal, I give you 5 seconds to talk, after which I'm turning this tube on you for a taste of your own medicine. Now, think it over. 1, 2.
No.
3.
I hate them. Why should I save them?
4.
All right. Put it away, please.
That's better. Now, how did you do it?
Many years ago, Einstein posed the theory that if an object were sufficiently accelerated, it would gradually flatten out and eventually disappear altogether. Working on this approach, I evolved a method of accelerating the atoms within the molecules, setting an object spinning in 4 rather than 3 dimensions. For many years, I tried to sell my idea to the railroad for condensing freight and storage.
And you start the thing spinning with this little tube?
The tube sends out a whirling ring of electrons which engulf the object.
Why did you turn it on those buildings?
I was driven to it. Only something dramatic could shock the world into realizing my greatness.
But you'll restore them. You brought back Grant's tomb.
I can restore them, yes.
Not can, Hannibal. Will.
On one condition.
Well?
That your paper give me full credit for my scientific achievement. Front page, pictures, a complete story.
It's a deal.
Wait a minute, Pop. We don't even work for this paper anymore, remember?
We'll take care of that little matter, Sweeney. Mr. Coleman, this is Pop Atterby. You've just rehired me. Now, if you'd care to step down the hall into my new office, I think I can show you something make your hair stand on end. I have 3 missing buildings in my desk drawer.
Well?
He's on fire. Says he's coming down here to have me committed to an institution.
Fine.
All right, Atterby. All right. What's going on here? I fired you. I ordered you off these premises. If this is a joke,
Well, Mr. Colburn, you see these models?
What about them?
What would you say if I were to tell you that these 5-inch models are actually the Empire State, Penn Station, the United States Post Office, and Burley's Bar, and a taxicab? All compressed 500 times. That there are people in them so tiny they can't see them. That even time is so compressed inside these buildings that movement is impossible.
This is insanity. Who is this man?
Sit down, Colburn. The show hasn't even started yet. Sweeney, put the taxicab out in the middle of the floor.
Okay, Pop.
Now, stand back. Hannibal, here's the tube. Now do your stuff.
Stand back. Now.
Good Lord. I don't believe it. It's getting bigger.
I reversed the polarity of the spin very gradually.
What's the idea, blocking traffic, you lousy bum? Hey, where am I? Hey, what happened? How did my cab get in this office?
Take it easy, George.
What is this? Who are you? Hey, ain't you the fare that skipped out on me? Hey, what is this, a bug house?
Well, Mr. Colburn?
I don't understand.
But you do believe.
Well, yes, I saw it right before my eyes.
Okay, well, then here's the deal. You give our boy Hannibal a front-page spread with pictures. He'll take these other buildings back to the original sites and restore them just like they were, with our cameras getting exclusive shots. Now, is it a bargain?
Is it a bargain? I may not be the best newspaper man in the world, but this is the biggest thing since Noah's Ark. You're rehired as city editor at your old salary.
My old salary?
All right, plus a 500 bonus.
It's a deal. Sweeney, call composing. Tell them to double the size of the front page. Have them hold it for a red banner full-page headline. Got that?
Right.
Hello, Albert. This is Pop. Listen, I want all photographers up in my office right away. Call research. Tell that girl to have Columbia send a battery of big shots over to the former site of Penn Station. Copy.
Hey, Mike.
Copy, boy.
Hey, Mike.
I'm busy, George. Sweeney, what's the word?
Messed up.
All right. What is it?
All I want to know is, how do I get my hack out of this office?
heard another adventure in time, space, and the unknown world of the future. The world of... Dimension How would you like to leave your home and friends for a trip that might last for 10 years or forever? You'll hear all about it on Dimension X next week when we present Shanghai.
Today, Dimension X has presented The Professor Was a Thief, an adaptation by George Lefferts of a story by L. Ron Hubbard. Featured in the cast were Arthur Maitland as Pop, John Larkin as Sweeney, and John Gibson as the Professor. Your host was Norman Rose. Music by Bert Berman, engineer Bill Chambers. Dimension X is produced by William Welch and directed by Edward King.
Well, that is a pretty neat story. The science is, well, a bit whacked, and I did try to find Einstein's view on the whole thing, but alas, I came up empty. Still, the storytelling was fun, and it used some of the best character actors available at the time. The author of the story was L. Ron Hubbard. We all know the name, but few knew that he was a pulp mag writer before he was the founder of Scientology. By the spring of 1938, Hubbard's stature as a writer was pretty well established. As author and critic Robert Silverberg put it, he had become a master of the art of narrative. With 19 New York Times bestsellers and more than 350 million copies of his work in circulation, L. Ron Hubbard is one of the most enduring and widely read authors of our time. And for the record, the L in his name stands for Lafayette. How about that?
Johnny, is this true?
As you know by now, I like to surf the internet to find the strange and unusual. I do this in the name of the podcast, but the truth is, I would do it anyway, even if there was no podcast. What you're about to hear is...
Johnny, is this true?
I will tell you a story and then ask the question, did I make it up or is it true? Your job is to decide. Let's get started.
Johnny, is this true?
This time on Johnny, Is It True? We're heading into the world of Gunsmoke to examine the truth or lies that I can come up with. How well do you know the show? Or better yet, can you tell if I'm telling the truth or making up some bald-faced fakery? Let's get started. Fact number 1. Did you know that James Arness was the only character to appear in each and every episode of the TV show? Now, that can't be right. And what about the Gunsmoke movies? Well, this is indeed true. Arness is the only actor to appear in every episode. Milburn Stone was almost there with him in his role as Doc, but he suffered a heart attack that led him to miss 6 episodes. There were the movies as well. Gunsmoke, The Return to Dodge in 1987, Gunsmoke, The Last Apache in 1990, Gunsmoke, To the Last Man in 1992, Gunsmoke, The Long Ride in 1993, and finally, Gunsmoke, One Man's Justice in 1994. Arness, well, he showed up as Matt Dillon for every single one. Fact number 2. CBS had a heck of a time filling the role of Marshal Matt Dillon. This was mostly because they had their hearts set on John Wayne. Now, is this true Yep, this one's right. John Wayne refused to leave his film career, which almost stopped the show from being made. However, John came to the rescue and introduced the producers to James Arness. CBS brought him in, gave him a little screen test, and never looked back. Now, unfortunately, William Conrad, who voiced the character on the radio show, didn't get the part because they felt he wasn't attractive enough. Ouch. Fact number 3. Gunsmoke, the TV series, made 635 episodes. That is a fact. But what most people don't realize is that this is a record that will never be broken in the modern television era. That's right, the most shows ever. Actually, that's wrong.
The next episode will beat Gunsmoke.
There was this little show called The Simpsons that shattered that record and is still going. The show currently has 700 plus episodes made. How about that? Fact number 4. How many of you have heard of the series Gilligan's Island? Well, did you know that Gunsmoke was the reason that show got canceled? No, really, it's true. Okay, the truth is, that is the truth. CBS was going to cancel Gunsmoke, but some producers started to freak out just a bit, so instead, they cut Gilligan and his crew, and Gunsmoke stole their time slot. Dodging a bullet, so to speak. Well, that's all I have for Johnny Is It True this time. I hope you enjoyed confirming or denying the truth. See you next time on Johnny, Is It True? That was episode 557. It was Whiskers 702 and Ray Peyton that helped us out today. Thanks very, very much. Now, please remember that I am looking for your stories. I need them. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button makes us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.